One other thing I wanted to get to real quick in podcast world, in this evidently podcast review, these quick hits we're doing. Colin Quinn was on with Dan Soder, and they had an interesting conversation as well that I wanted to highlight here, because they were talking about gatekeepers in comedy, and this is something we've kind of talked about both on this show and Why You Laughing. The idea that like in comedy, the old Comedy Cellar table, like that had actual value in the comedy community, if you will. And so let's hear CQ and Soder talk about this on Soder.
That's so much. That was the same car ride where he told me my generation was too informed about comedy. And you go, that's what sucks about you guys. You guys know everything that happened. There's no surprises. There's no good stories because you guys all care too much about comedy.
Oh yeah, and that was before podcasts.
Yeah,
remember that was like
it was like 2009
it was
or
like
2010
Binghamton or something.
Yeah, we were going up to Binghamton, and you're like, oh, you guys know too much about comedy.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, because we really. Specifically,
you guys studied it. Thank God.
It was like me, List, Morrill,
but it was
Norman.
great because you guys kept the quality, like you kept us honest. Too,
yeah,
I feel like because you guys are like, you know what I mean. The subset of people that really care about comedy benefit from that.
Yeah, because it's quality control.
Yes,
which I think that's a problem with a lot of. Performances now, whether it be like music or acting, or is that there really is no quality control. There's no gatekeepers anymore, which is great for a lot of reasons, but also the quality suffers.
Yeah,
I do. I think that's interesting, and I think that a lot of that, so it kind of mixed with what Bill Maher and Bill Burr were saying about like cancel culture, is a lot of that stuff coming back. And like, I think a good thing, if there's like a good thing from the whole cancel culture thing that happened for a long time and doesn't seem to be happening as much now, one good thing would be like people aren't as overtly nasty to each other in person. I think they are online, probably worse than they ever were.
Yep.
But like in person, you're not as comfortable being like mean to someone. So in comedy, you don't just fucking destroy someone before they ever attempt a career. But it does, like what Patrice and those guys did was weed out kind of a lot of the weaker people, like people that weren't cut out for doing the road or things like that. People that didn't have the stomach for it. A brittle spirit, as Dave Chappelle would say. So they talk about Patrice and Nick DiPaolo here. So I just thought this was interesting and wanted to play it for you guys real quick.
That was quality control.
Well, that was quality control, but even Keith said it to me just last week. We were on the phone talking, and he goes, we're pussies now. He goes, we needed Patrice and Nick for real quality control.
Yeah.
Because those two, they were mean.
Yeah.
But they were quality control. They didn't like me and Keith and even Norton and Bob. We let a lot of shit slide.
Yeah, you know what they were? They were like those dogs, like shepherd dogs.
Yes.
Like how they bite lambs and then they keep them all in line or whatever. And like, no lambs are getting bit right now. Or they're like, fuck. Fuck.
Exactly. We're like shepherds that are kind of like, hey,
you got your stick. You got your.
Right.
You're not biting our asses. But like,
you don't realize you need that, but you do need it. Of course, everything does.
Oh man, yeah, because it's.
Nick must feel like $1 million hearing that.
Yeah, it's nice to hear something nice about Nick DiPaolo for once. For the first time in a long time, you know?
Right.
I always enjoyed DiPaolo's line. I think it's on the final episode of Tough Crowd when he goes, I'd like to thank Colin for giving the opportunity for the business to see me as Ty Cobb without the baseball skills. I think it's a great description.
His stand-up's so funny. He's so focused on politics now. I don't think we're ever going to get it back.
Yeah, that's tough. And that's like guys like that, guys like DiPaolo are great. And Patrice was like this too. When they focus on like big issues rather than like when DiPaolo gets in the weeds talking about individual stories, it's too much. It's too like, we know your opinion on this. When he talks about like society and stuff, it's better. You know what I mean? But like when he gets in the weeds on some story about Trump or something, it just gets exhausting because we know exactly the angle he's taking. Where if he's talking about bigger picture stuff, we don't necessarily know the angle he's going to take.
Right. I love DiPaolo.
But yeah, I just like those. I would say Colin Quinn on Soder is definitely worth checking out if you're a comedy fan because it's a good conversation. So I just wanted to highlight that for those of you that haven't checked it out yet.